Papi's World is the best.
Poppy, what is percolating, you guys? It's Poppy Cortijo, aka Parody Poppy, aka Poppy's World is the best. And today, I got a good friend of mine here, man. A great comic. He's a jack of all trades, man, and he's on the fittest comic in the industry right now, in Jersey at least. Let's give it up for my buddy, Bryan. How you say your last name?
Villone. Good friends.
Yes.
Really good friends. You know? Really good friends.
Yeah, man. We've chatted a couple times.
Yeah,
we've hung out like 3 times at a couple mics, man. Brian's a real good guy, real funny comic, which at the open mics is kind of hard to find sometimes, man. So you definitely gotta, make that connection.
You gotta cling on, man, because a lot of these open mics, they're just brutal to sit through.
Brutal.
But and then like I said before we got on air, I didn't want to, networking is such an important part of this business. But you don't want to force relationships, so we kind of clicked when we first met.
Yeah. It was like an easy thing. It was like, oh yeah, I see it. I could tell this guy's funny. You could tell it was. I don't even think you saw my first set. I think
I did, man. I saw you at I saw you. We didn't talk that night, but I saw you at this Mike in Garfield, or it was I forget the name of the bar.
Yeah.
But I was like, this dude is good.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to you that night, but we talked later on.
Yeah, we definitely did, man. Yeah, man. Brian's an awesome dude. He's killing it with the ladies out here. That's obvious, man.
That's true.
I know you do a mic at the strip club, right? Don't you do it on Sunday? Was it a Sunday night mic?
Nah. Oh no, I went to a show that was at a strip club.
Oh yeah, right.
And after the show, the strip club was open, and let me tell you, there's no such thing as a pandemic.
Right.
At that strip, it was crazy, man. Because I haven't been out in a year, because of everything, right? But I went out, and it was like wide open. I was like, this is an incredible feeling. I miss being outside in the streets.
Yeah, and I saw a couple of strippers posting you on their story too. They're like, look, this is, I don't know what this is. And I was like, okay,
you're trying to set me up, man.
I see you, boy. Yo, shouts out to the strip. What's that club called? I gotta go to a mic there one time.
Club Flamingo.
Flamingo, yeah. It's in Secaucus.
Is my mic on? Because I don't hear myself in
I don't think so. No, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
This video's gonna be good enough. We good. All right, so Brian, let's get into it, man.
One question.
Yeah.
Is this live right now?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's live. All right.
It's live. You live right here. We live right here.
I didn't know. Oh, we got people. All right.
We got a couple people watching, right?
Yeah.
We got. Shouts out to the people. Yo, here at FTV Radio, man. It's the Friday night comedy podcast with your host, Poppy's World Productions, with my boy Bryan Villone. I knew it was Villone, but I just wanted to get it right. You know what I mean?
I appreciate
Respect that. You know what I mean? What's up, June? Shouts out to DJ June for putting us together. Nah, both of the mics are not on. Put them on. Oh, is it not turned on?
Oh, it's just the. I don't hear myself in the headphones, but yeah.
Check. Yeah, no, but it's all good.
All right.
Yeah, the headphones, no. But the microphone, yes.
Okay, bet.
All right, cool.
All right, we all good then, man. Thank you, sir.
Because look at the green lights over there moving.
Oh, okay, the voice, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, yeah, it is moving. Okay, yeah, no, we are recording. So, yeah, we are truly live.
So everyone missed everything we were saying.
Yeah. So real quick, Bryan Villone here with Friday nights at the Comedy Podcast with Poppy's World, man. So, Brian, let me ask you, how long have you been a comic now?
I'm not going to count the quarantine year, so I'm going to say 6 years.
6 years.
6 years, yeah.
And what would you say made you want to be a comedian? Or like, was there like a moment where you like, this is what I got to do?
It's always been something in the back of my mind, right? Ever since I was a kid, I was just drawn to this art form of stand-up for whatever reason. I don't really know why. And then throughout the years, I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I was taking this public speaking course at Bergen Community College. And I did really well in that college. In that course.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, if I can do well in the public speaking course, I can do stand-up.
Yeah. You were nervous before this class, you think?
Not really. Yeah, every time I was ever assigned a public speaking assignment in school, I always was excited for it. Right. I'm not saying I did well at it, but I was excited to do it. So I was like, all right, let me try the stand-up thing, and I tried it, and I was like, all right, this is something I want to do.
So let's go back 6 years. Let's talk about that first show. Let's talk about it. Where was it? You remember any jokes? Let's talk about
my first open mic was at Laughing Buddha in the West Village.
In the city. So your first mic ever was in the city.
First mic was in the city. Yeah, and it was one of those bucket mics, right? So you throw your name in, they just choose it randomly. So I wound up going last.
Oh, that fucking sucks, dude.
And there was like 20, 25
Yeah.
comics. I was whatever. But it was my first mic. And in that moment, at that time, I felt like I did really well. And which is a dumb thing to do. I brought my girl at the time and her sister and her friend. They came with me and they watched. And they all said, like, that was good. This was good. So I had, like, this false confidence going on, right? Because I was like, damn, I just crushed my first shit, right? And then I watched that tape back, like, a year ago.
Yeah.
I watched it, and I was like, this shit is terrible. I couldn't sit through 10 seconds of it. So it's like, when you're first starting out, you get this false confidence if you do well.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's kind of dangerous.
That happened to me real bad, dude. On my first show, I was like one of the only comics that made the whole room laugh. So I had big balls, you know, for like months.
Yeah.
And then my first bomb, I almost quit. I was like, bro, I'm not doing this shit again, bro.
But that's the thing. I always heard about people bombing and how it's super important. So like when I did bomb and it came very soon after, I was like, all right, that's just part of it. It doesn't feel good, but I was like, all right, I can deal with this.
Nah, but that first bomb, man, that shit feels crazy. Yeah, it's weird too, cause like you don't expect it, you know. And it wasn't even like, for me, it wasn't even like I was using different jokes. I used like maybe I was trying a couple things.
Okay.
But it was just real bad, dude.
What was your worst bomb?
It was in the Jersey City Underground, that spot.
Okay.
So I have a song called The Lotion, right? And
Is it Ludacris's The Potion Beat?
no, it's Drake's The Motion.
Oh,
You ever heard
okay.
that song? So
Yeah,
it's Drake's
yeah.
The Motion, right? And the hook is "Nigga, you need some lotion," right? And like, if you don't know me, you don't know that I'm like, you know, like I'm Afro Latino. So there was a bunch of like white people in the crowd, and they were looking at me like all crazy. It was all bad after that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all bad after
I
that.
remember, my two biggest bombs. One was in this room in Brooklyn called Essence Lounge. It was an all-black room.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and my boy Ibrahim, shout out to him.
Shout out to Ibrahim.
He got me on the show, and for the most part, I usually do well in all-black rooms. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna do all right
Yeah,
at least,
yeah.
right? I ate shit so bad. It was terrible, man. It was like they were looking at me like, who the fuck
What is
is
the
this
joke you
guy?
think?
What is he talking about? Nothing landed.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I wasn't even mad about it. I was like, they just weren't feeling who I was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pack it up and get the fuck out of here.
Do you think your worst show was it in New York and Jersey, or was it like do you travel? Do you travel?
I've done shows in London. I've done a show in Costa Rica. I've done a show in Chicago. I've done a bunch in Florida. But my worst show was definitely like that room in Essence.
Yeah.
And then a room at Scotty's Comedy Cove, which is in, I guess, central South Jersey. I forget the town it's in.
Comedy Cove.
Scotty's Comedy Cove.
They always have like a pelican on their flyer, right? I think I've
Something
seen it
like that.
before.
Yeah. So I did like an outside producer who was holding a show. I did his show there, and I crushed. And then I had a show there a week later at a different producer, same club. I crushed, and the booker saw me twice. So he's like, all right, I'm going to give you a guest spot on one of the house shows.
Bet.
So he gave me a guest spot on the house show. I got there 5 minutes, and I fucking I bombed.
Was it the same jokes?
For the most part, it was a shorter set, so I might take some out. But like,
Yeah.
I just ate shit. It wasn't a big crowd. I just ate shit. And then after the show, the booker's like, hey, you should come to our open mics. Which is like, yo, you just saw me kill twice.
Yeah.
I had an off night. But whatever. That's the name of the
Fuck,
game.
that sucks.
So those are my two worst shows. Essence and Scotty's Comedy Cove.
Oh, so that's good. At least if you travel, you're killing it if you travel.
Yeah, killing. I don't like to use that unless like it was a fucking murder.
How was the London show?
London was dope. There was a good crowd. It was a very small room, but it was a lot of people in there. And I was the only American.
Yeah.
So I kind of stood out, which was a good thing.
Yeah, that helps, right?
Yeah, that's usually why I do well on black shows sometimes.
Yeah.
Because if I'm the only white guy there, I feel like I just stand out because I'm the only white guy there. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely hear that. Do you think that when you go to like different places, especially outside of Jersey and New York, that you stand out as well just because of that? Because I think like sometimes that New York Jersey comic is a real different. Like we maneuver different than like Florida comics or like DC. comics.
Yeah, I think just the attachment of saying, hey, I'm a New Jersey or New York comic. It sounds like more important than it really might be when you go other places. Because when I went to Florida and I said, hey, like I'm a comic from Jersey. I work in New York. I'm trying to get on some shows. Like, oh yeah, would love to have you, this and that. And they treat you like with so much respect. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do like that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a New York comic. Yeah, I've used that in Florida a couple times to get on the show, so it definitely works.
Yeah, but Florida was dope. I had some good shows in Florida. That was a great time.
Yeah, Florida definitely. Florida, if you're in front of the right crowd and you know, like, cause sometimes I've got in front of like the golf crowd, and I did okay, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but then sometimes I'll get around to all the Cubans and Puerto Ricans, Dominicans.
Yeah.
Well, you know?
It's like sometimes I have misconceptions about what my audience is gonna be. Like I've done shows at this place in Bergenfield, New Jersey, Tommy Fox's, where the audience is 95% old white people, and I always feel like I'm gonna bomb.
Yeah.
But I do well there every time. So sometimes I'm like, I don't have a good gauge of what my audience is gonna be.
Yeah, that happens too, because
Really?
sometimes you think you do really well with these people, like you said at the
Yeah.
Essence Lounge, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, the worst shows I've had have been like me being too confident.
Yeah.
Where before the show I'm like, oh, I'm gonna crush this. Right?
Yeah.
But the best shows I've always, before I get on stage, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna eat shit right now.
Yeah.
And then I do well. That's
So,
weird.
so let me ask you, what's your process before a show? Are you the type of person that like, rehearses the set in front of the mirror a bunch of times, like, record it and like speak it out to yourself? What do you do?
So when I first started out, I would like say it word for word, like by myself in my crib, just like repeating it over and over, trying to get the wording and the pacing down right. But as time went on and I got better and like the bits kind of sunk in, I would kind of just go with the flow and see how I felt, because like I don't want to say it the same exact way every time.
Right, right.
Sometimes you want to hit a different inflection on certain words, and it depends how you're feeling that day. So before a show, depending on how much time I'm getting, I'll just write down my set list with like keywords, and just that's the order I want to go in.
Right.
Yeah. So it's nothing too complicated. It's very simple.
How long do you think it took you to get there? To get to that where you felt comfortable?
Probably like I'm still getting comfortable, man. Like I still am. Like I'll be on stage now, and it probably seems like I'm very comfortable, but I'm still working out things. I don't think I'm fully there yet. I don't think I fully found my voice yet. I still feel like I have a long way to go just to develop as a comic.
And what would you say is your like aspirations in comedy? I mean, everybody wants to go big, but like
I
do you have any
just
specific?
my number one goal right now in my head is to film an hour special. That's my number one goal.
Do you feel like you have enough?
And I don't have enough
Bits?
material
No?
yet. I have about probably 20 to 30 minutes, so I'm just working on trying to fill my calendar this year. So book me, please. Right?
Yeah, shouts out to everybody, man. This is Brian Villone. Spell that for everybody.
Villone.
And this is exactly how it's spelled on Instagram. That's you can send him in his DMs.
And that's Bryan with a Y. Bryan.
For sure, man. We're gonna tag you on this. So everybody that's watching on FTV Radio, make sure you go follow Brian Villone. I know I said Byron for a second. Byron.
Yeah, people do that. It's
They
weird.
do, right?
It's like it's not even the fucking same order of letters.
So let me ask you, what do you do? What do you do when a crowd doesn't laugh?
I insult them. Like, why aren't you? No,
That does work sometimes.
and sometimes it does. You get a pass. You get to do it like one time. If you hit a joke, it bombs, and you get to like oh, y'all trash.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like,
yeah.
all right, I fucked up. Like you get one pass, but after that, you can't keep doing that. So you just plow along. I'm not the greatest at crowd work. So some comics, if their shit is bombing, they can go into crowd work, and sometimes the room is just set up for crowd work. Like if you're in a bar and people are drunk and loud, sometimes crowd work is the best shit. They don't want to hear material.
Right.
So crowd work is a skill I'm trying to develop too. But
That's something that comes with time, though. Because
Yeah.
I'm not I mean, technically, if we're counting the pandemic, now I've been like doing comedy like 2 years. But I was
Yeah.
I finally like felt like I was starting to hit my stride like December 2019.
Okay.
Like, I started maybe like that summer.
okay.
August or whatever, and then like pandemic hit, and it felt like I was like, nah, nigga, this ain't for you, bro. This is how you supposed to do. But nah, man, I like. Have you ever been to the show that? Shouts out to Tony Lon and Irv. You ever went to the Pier at the Park show? Have you ever been there?
Yes, the open mic.
Yeah. That's a nice mic. I actually like that.
I like
a
it's
lot.
fun because the one I just did a couple weeks ago, they actually had you know, there's people in the park and they gathered around like it was an actual show. So you had an audience to perform to instead of just comics where everyone's thinking of their own shit.
They don't even pay attention to your shit.
Yeah.
It was funny though, because one time I was there, and then I was about to get in some real raunchy shit, and some little girl was like, she stopped right behind, and I was about to say all pussies and all this shit. So I was just like, it fucked me up.
That'll throw you off too when there's a kid in the crowd.
Yeah. That'll really throw you off because I'm trying to get some clean shit. Like, you know,
my shit's not really too raunchy. I don't even really curse that much in my material, but like it definitely borderlines on like dark.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so it's not something you want a kid to hear.
Yeah. And I don't even know if the kid's gonna understand. That's the thing. Like I look at kids like they're morons.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, which they probably do. Yeah. They're probably smarter than I'm giving them credit for.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know how old I was, but I used to like when Dane Cook popped. I remember I was not supposed to be watching Dane Cook.
Well, he wasn't even like it was crazy how he was a superstar.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he hated doing comedy. That was the thing about him.
Did he?
Yeah, he said at one point he said I hated doing stand up. I just he wanted to be an actor. But I was like,
oh really? Oh, yeah. I never heard that because like everything I've heard from him, he said he loved doing stand up, but yeah, he was a fucking superstar. Oh yeah, he had an unbelievable run. Yeah, and people hated him.
Yeah, I don't know why, bro.
So I was a kid, so I liked him, right?
Yeah, me too.
But I get it. Like when I like he's not my favorite now, right?
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I liked him a lot. But people hated him just because I think he was one of the first to kind of make MySpace work for him. You know, he came up on the internet. You know, he was on the ground level. He was collecting people's emails, getting them to come out to shows. So he was just doing the work that way. And people said he wasn't a purist and this and that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was a superstar. It was unbelievable.
I mean, he wasn't like a Mencia where he's stealing jokes or nothing.
No. Yeah. Well, he had a couple accusations, but I don't know how true they are.
Yeah, it wasn't on some Mencia level, man. That was crazy. Well, like Carlos Mencia. Yeah. I think that's why they canceled the show too, right?
I have no idea, but probably.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Probably.
So going off of that, what would you say your biggest influence in comedy is?
As a young kid, like 10, 11, 12. I probably George Carlin, Chris Rock. Those were like the first comics I really remember and like resonating with their bits. Even though I didn't have any life experience, but for whatever reason, they just made me laugh and what they were saying was hilarious. And then like growing up through like middle school and high school, I watched Comedy Central Presents on Friday nights. And you know, like Bill Burr was one of the first comics I saw in there. And then he wound up just like, this was before he was Bill Burr, who he is today, and he was hilarious. But Patrice O'Neal's probably one of my favorite
shouts out to
of all time. Man. Yeah, like I'm upset I never saw him perform live.
Me neither, man.
You know, I didn't really understand like during his run. I didn't really understand how comedy worked. Like how I could just have went out to the city and probably seen him at the Comedy Cellar, right? But yeah, he was one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, man. He did a lot of stuff, man. And he died young too. How old was he?
40 something.
Yeah, he was real young, man. I mean, he was on The Office. He did a bunch of shit.
Yeah, he did a bunch of shit. His stand up was incredible. And one of my favorite comedians right now, Gary Goldman. His writing, his stand up. I love his stand up so much. He's so good.
That's amazing, man. Do you feel like it's hard because as a comic, like because I go to a lot of open mics and shit, I don't find myself going to too many shows anymore.
Okay.
Do you feel like you go to a lot of shows like just to enjoy?
Every now and then I do. So one night I went to the Cellar, Comedy Cellar, just because I had nothing to do that night. I was in the city. I was like, let me go. So I went to the late show, the 11 p.m. show, and towards the end of the show, the last comic was on stage. Host came back up and he's like, hey, I got one more comic for you. You might have seen him on Chappelle's show, and then he brought out Dave Chappelle.
Oh shit!
So everyone was tired at that point, right? Everyone was like gassed, ready to go home. But then he said Dave Chappelle, and the whole fucking room lit up.
Yeah.
So Chappelle was on stage for 3 hours.
Wow.
So we didn't leave there till like 4 a.m.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So that was an incredible experience. So like doing shit like that is always fun. Going to shows, and it's a small, tight, intimate room. So he was like super close. Yeah. But it was incredible.
Yeah, I like the Comedy Central a lot. The last time I went there, I saw. And this is before I started seeing his name go around. Usman's, I think Usman Sadiq. You know that?
Usama
Sadiq. Yo, that kid is funny, dude.
He's hilarious. So I did a mic with him when and around when we both first started. I think we started around the same time. I did a mic with him, and he was hilarious.
Yeah, that kid is funny, dude.
He just has like a presence you want to listen to, right? I remember at the mic, there was this blind guy at the mic, a blind comic at the mic, and Usama was like, he was like, oh, he like faked a high five to him, right? It was mad awkward at the time, but I don't know. It just kind of gave you a sense of like who he was going to be as a comic. Yeah. So it was cool to see him like doing really well.
Yeah, he has a podcast too. Shouts out to the Mango Bay.
Yeah, his shit is funny.
Watching, but yeah, their shit.
He probably doesn't remember me, honestly, but like,
he's like, who are you, random white guy?
Yeah, he is hilarious.
That's funny, man. Yeah, he's definitely hilarious. You guys need to go follow that guy. Now, what would you say your style of comedy? Like, where do you get your material? Like, what's your style?
Mostly shit that's happened to me in my life. Like, it's not necessarily all 100% true, but it's definitely like taken from something that is true, and I might change a little detail here and there, but as long as it's conveying something that's real and something that happened to me, an emotion that happened to me, then that's where it comes from.
I feel like I heard I was talking to my boy Ken the other day, we were at the Producers Club actually, and he made that good point. It's like, like the best comedy comes from like honest experience, and if you're not honest in your comedy, it's kind of shown almost.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like by the book, 100% truthful, right? As long as it's conveying the emotion, the truthful emotion, it could be funny. Because I have a joke about how, I was an only child and how I grew up poor, but I say something about being evicted. I wasn't evicted when I was a kid, but I was evicted like later on. It's just funnier if I put it together that way. And it's still the same idea. Like, I was poor growing up, so like it doesn't have to be 100% truthful. Right. You can definitely embellish and like exaggerate and just change words around to make things tighter. Yeah, just for the sake of being funny. Yeah.
Like on the Young Rock show, I'm sure that all that shit didn't happen.
I want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
It's for the sake of liking The Rock. It's like, I'll watch it, but I mean, it's still a sitcom, but it's
The Rock is incredible.
Yeah. It's all about him like kind of being like trying to become president, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
It's pretty good though. I like it. So let me ask you. So do you have any experience in like improv or anything like that? Have you done that in your 6 years?
I've taken 2 improv classes. I'm not saying I'm good at it, but I've taken 2 improv classes. Yeah.
How did it go for you?
I thought it was fun, but I don't know if I'm good at it. I mean, you have to have a little bit of improv skill to work, to be a comedian, stand-up comedian. But like, I think I'm the best using my material and shit. Like, I'm not the best off the top, but what do you got for me?
Yeah, no, but improv is different,
Yeah.
So we talked about your worst set. What was your best set?
My best set. Probably one of the shows at JC Underground, or I did a audition for Comic Strip Live for their late night, and I got like 2-3 applause breaks in my 5-minute set. So that was probably one of my best sets, and I passed into that club doing it that way.
Hell yeah! And where was that at?
Comic Strip Live. Upper East Side.
That's it. Oh yeah. I know about that club.
Yeah, that was a really good set.
Have you? A show that I really want to do is that I don't know if it's Stand Up New York that does it, but they're doing a show on the train. Have you ever done it?
It's Stand Up New York. I haven't done it. Yeah. It doesn't look like a good time.
Yeah, it doesn't look, I mean, I would like to do it for the sake of doing it. You know what I mean? Just to get the picture of me fucking doing it on the train.
It seems rough, but I mean, it looked cool.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you, what does the future of comedy post-pandemic look like for you?
I think it'll be back to normal very soon. Just based on what we've been seeing now. I think there's going to be a lot more outdoor shows going on, a lot of rooftop shows going on, just because that's all that's been able to survive throughout the pandemic. And I don't think people are going to stop those, especially during the warmer weather.
Right.
So a lot of rooftop shows for sure, with trains going by in the background.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like that a lot. I know that. Have you ever been to the show that Youssef puts on in like, I think it's at like a Freemason Lodge or some shit.
The Reserve?
The Reserve.
I haven't been there, but I've seen him.
That's a dope show, yeah, and it's all like outside and like.
Oh, it's outdoors?
Yeah. I went like in the pandemic, because like people, comedians are still trying to work their shit out regardless. You got to. I mean, you get real. I remember my first show after the pandemic. Wow, that was so bad, dude. It was super bad because it was just like I was trying to get my feet wet again.
I got surprised, you know, last time I was on stage was March whatever, right? March 8th before we shut down.
Yeah.
And then hadn't been on stage until I think it was like July or August.
Yeah.
And it was and it felt good. Like I did really well. I was like, oh shit, I missed this. It was almost good that I had that time to let it just kind of breathe.
Yeah.
And not do anything. Because it felt more genuine and more natural.
Yeah, for me, I just felt like I'm trying to work on some new shit because I know I got, like, now that, like, because I'm technically really only a year into doing stand-up, you know?
Yeah.
So I know what works. I know what jokes I know that have works. But, like, it's hard because, like, I think when you first start and you get to what shit works, it's easy for you to not want to, like, write or do other shit.
Yeah.
Because you get nervous, right? It's like you get nervous to do, you know, shit because it's like, I know this
Because you're
works.
used to the laughs and then, like, when you try new shit, you know it's not going to come right away.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're just trying to work that shit out.
And sometimes you get lucky and the new jokes, they do hit right away.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But it's all about the crowd, you know, at the end of the day, and all about you doing that shit correctly, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me check something real quick. Yeah, we're about to start something real quick.
All right.
We're here on the Papi's World podcast. We've been interviewing Bryan Villone, man, great comic out here in Jersey. Like I said, he is the fittest comic in the industry right now. And tonight we're gonna try out his skills, man. We got 6 different games that we're gonna be doing. He has a chance to get on the slot on the Papi's World Comedy Show. This is gonna be the comedy competition where he wins. So he's gonna win the comedy belt. It's gonna be coming soon, so it's gonna be real awesome, man. I'm the Wild on Wednesdays at Empire Lounge on May the 12th. So Brian, are you ready?
I'm as ready as I can be.
All right, so what we're gonna do, you're gonna get this dice die, right?
One die, yeah.
One die, you're gonna get this one die, and I'm explaining to you the 6 games that we have. All right, so game 1 is called Humble Beast. Player must hum the song. Try to get the opponent to correctly get the song in 30 seconds. That's how you gain points. If you get 3 songs, you get to 5 points total. All right.
Be good at this.
So that's the first one. Second game is called Riddle Me This. It's simple, just riddle. If you get the riddle right, then you get a point. Game 3 is Name That Comedian. I got a couple comedians out over here on the YouTube. We're gonna play 5 seconds of it. If you guess that comedian right, you get the point. That's game 4. So game 5 is called Do Not Laugh. So on each one of these place cards, you're gonna have either pick a dad joke written down. You make one up on the spot, or you have 1 minute to make your opponent laugh, which is me. So you're gonna try to make me laugh. It doesn't matter if it's a sound or whatever, but it's telling you what you're gonna do.
Got it.
All right.
Papi's World is the best.